how I discovered this was when I first started in 2009, there was a professor here named Terry Fenneman. Terry Fenneman was a teaching assistant. She was a master's student. She went on to get her PhD. And she taught at North Dakota, and then and I followed her career. She's at the University of Kansas now. She's quite a distinguished scholar and focused on essentially the lives of the first ladies of America, and also she's also taken a little bit of a bent toward entrepreneurism as well. So she is a Facebook friend, and she announced on Facebook that she was interested in doing this project in Eudora, Kansas, which is just outside of Lawrence. It's actually not that far from Kansas City. And when I heard that, I called her and said, you know, maybe we could team up. And you have your students who are covering Eudora for the Eudora Times, which is something she put together. And my students could come up with new content and revenue possibilities for Eudora. And maybe the end result would be that we'd learn a whole lot that might be able to help these various towns that are so-called news deserts right now. Half of Kansas is a news desert. About a third of Missouri is a news desert. By news desert, I'm saying a town that has no newspaper, has no real local coverage whatsoever. So it was kind of a match made in heaven. We agreed to do that, and we put together a town meeting in Eudora at the beginning of the semester. Took our students down there, her students down there, and we talked to them, but mostly we listened to them, the kinds of news that they wanted to get. And we've been after it ever since. Students in my class have just come up with 4 content and revenue ideas, and we're going to pursue them throughout the rest of the semester.
Basically, like have their own like column, and so they would just that would be like free work right there, and then they would have a stake in it, and they would want their family members to like buy it and like to get it.
I do think the larger idea for hiring as one part of the whole thing is a good thing, because, you know, as we found out, you know, looking for a plumber is a hard thing there, because the only guy who's the plumber is retired. So that kind of stuff, help wanted, and also things for sale. Those towns have a lot of, you know, there's a lot of garage sale type things and other things like that could fit into this.
There are a lot of instances, just like I alluded to earlier, where the lack of high-speed internet in some of these rural areas out there in the state really hampers the opportunity to do a lot of the digital applications that you just outlined. We know it's coming down the road, and it will be here, but it's not here now. That's why we don't want to completely abandon the print. There's a marriage between the two that is inevitable.
One of the things that you discover when you go to a place like Eudora is it's rife with rumors. For example, right after we left, there was a rumor that City Hall was going to institute a new tax to pay for a newspaper that we were going to create. It was a total, complete fabrication, but we had to knock it down. So we knocked it down in our little online Eudora Times with a Sunday editorial saying, not only is that not true, but we couldn't take the money anyway. It'd be unethical. So these are things, lots of things are going around in that town like that, because they don't have any sort of sense of what's real and what's not real. I ask people, where do you get the news? And they say, well, signs that are posted on the side of buildings. One lady said that she hears it from her friends at the swim club. So all of this is word of mouth. This is stuff on a signboard, but there's a ton of things that folks don't know about. The people in Eudora asked the same things. They said, well, what are Missouri students doing over here in Kansas? And I said, well, these are unusual times, and so we have to work together to do this. I said, this is a rare opportunity where you have two professors and also two sets of students who are looking at the same problem. And this is a problem that's just getting worse and worse and worse around the country.